The first thing we do is we find our decimal. Well, this is a whole number, so I know my decimal is after the digits. Then I move my decimal. I'm going from a P to a D, so I know I have to go to the left. So I move my decimal 2 places to the left and drop it down. So if I'm rewriting this percent as a decimal, I simply write the digits with the decimal in front of them. Notice I have dropped the percent sign. It is no longer a percent. So another example, 2.3%. Same following the steps. Here's my decimal. I find it. I'm going from a percent to a decimal, so I have to move 2 places to the left. Notice I don't have a digit here. I can't just leave it blank, so I have to fill it in with a, yep, you got it, a 0. So now my decimal of that would be decimal 0.23. All right, looking at a decimal to a percent. Decimal to a percent. What if I have decimal 0.8? Going from a decimal D to a percent P, find my decimal. I am moving from D to P, which means I have to go to the right. 1, 2, drop it down again. So that would equal, I'm just going to write the whole number 8. I'm not going to put my lead 0 in there because it really doesn't mean anything. And then I'm going to add a percent sign because I am going from a decimal to a percent. So looking at 2.7, finding my decimal, going from a decimal to a percent, I must move 2 places to the right. Again, I'm missing a digit. Again, you need to use a filler 0 to fill it in. 2.70, I'm sorry, not true. So you've moved your decimal, so now it becomes 270. Notice how I have to write down the filler 0 on this one, percent. If it follows other whole numbers, it needs to be included. But if it's in front of what becomes a whole number, it does not need to be included. So please make sure if you're filling in filler zeros after whole numbers that you do write the whole number down. Has to be in there if it's behind digits that are something other than 0. Okay, turning to your next page, you have a try it section. You're going to just do a couple of those on your own. Try those at home tonight, and when you come into class tomorrow, we will go over those as your practice. So going on with the notes, when changing a fraction to a decimal or a decimal to a fraction, there are basic steps you follow as well. As you can tell, I'm very much a step-by-step kind of person. First thing we do is we write down the fraction. We determine if the denominator of the fraction has a factor, is the denominator a factor of a decimal place value. Remember that decimal place values are tenths, hundredths, thousandths, etc. In other words, can you multiply the denominator to get 10, 100, 1,000, etc.? If yes, then write the fraction as an equivalent fraction with a decimal place value as the denominator. Then change that fraction to the decimal equivalent. We'll do an example in a minute. If no, then you must divide the numerator by the denominator, making it into a decimal. Watch what happens. Let's look at our examples. The first one we're going to look at as an example is a fraction that has a number, a denominator, that can become a decimal place value. 5 will go into 10, 5 will also go into 100, 5 will also go into 1,000. But you want to keep it as simple as possible. So we're going to take it and make it an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 10. We know tenths place, yes. Easy enough. How do we get from 5 to 10? Times 2. What we do to the bottom, we must also do to the top. 2 times 2 is 4. Now we have